Falcon fan? This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. So today we're going to talk about Calvin Ridley being reinstated back into the NFL and what that means for our Atlanta Falcons. Also, what we're going to talk about is some rumors and news going around today. Of course, this is the eve of the franchise tag deadline, and we are 1 week away from the actual start of the new year in free agent frenzy. So we're going to definitely be talking about that. Talk about the fallout from the NFL Combine and so many guys that actually stock rose like I talked about, and some guys who maybe dropped a little bit. We'll just have to look at that. So guys, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys out here that I talk about. And please share my video throughout the YouTube universe and more people can come in and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So like I said, guys, right into it. We're going to talk about Calvin Ridley. NFL actually reinstated Calvin Ridley today. He can actually do all team activities with the Jacksonville Jaguars. With what that means for the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, we know the Atlanta Falcons made a trade to the Jacksonville Jaguars with Calvin Ridley back in November trade deadline. And they received a 5th round 2023 pick. So that's an extra pick. Once he got reinstated, the Atlanta Falcons actually got their 5th round pick. If it would have been at a later date, it would have been a 6th round. But either way, it was before the new league year. Don't have to worry about it. It's going to be a 5th round pick. Now, the big thing is 2024 pick is a 4th round pick. However, it could actually move up to a 3rd round pick depending on how much playing time he gets. So if he reached the playing time stature that they agreed upon with this trade, it'll actually turn to a 3rd round pick. And if they decide to actually get him to a contract extension, it'll actually move up to a 2nd round pick. So potentially the Atlanta Falcons get the 5th round pick this year, and always up to a 2nd round pick for 2024. Remember, this is Calvin Ridley's 5th year, so they would have to go ahead and give him an extension this year, or he will actually be, going to be in the free agent next year. So that's one of the things we have to look at. So potentially the Falcons get the 3rd or 5th round pick this year, and hopefully they get that 2nd round pick next year for Calvin Ridley. One interesting thing, we actually get to go on the road this year to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that'll be interesting to see. Hopefully Calvin Ridley don't come back and bite us in the butt and put up a big monster game against us, because now that offense for the Jacksonville Jaguars is looking pretty good. And Calvin Ridley, I think, probably fit their scheme a little bit better than he fit it with the Atlanta Falcons. So, but there we go. Calvin Ridley back reinstated into the NFL. Hopefully he's able to stay in the NFL this time. I think that the situation last year, him sitting out so many games, and then the year before last, sitting out so many games, then him actually betting, on the team and stuff like that. I think it was best for us to part ways, and definitely we saved that money because we would have to give him that franchise, probably that 5th year option. We would have to pick that up this year, which would have, reduced our cap hit going into this year. So one good thing about trading Calvin Ridley. However, I thought he was a pretty good receiver. Just probably didn't fit the physicality that Arthur Smith likes to play with. So that's where we got it, Calvin Ridley. Let me guys know what you think about Calvin Ridley. The next thing on the docket is, of course, the NFL Combine is actually over, and it's so many rumors out there. This is the time of the season where you're gonna hear so many different things. You don't know what to believe. You try to read the tea leaves and try to figure out what's going on, but it's so many different rumors going out there. And believe it or not, this year, a lot of players is going to definitely be linked to the Atlanta Falcons, because the Atlanta Falcons actually have the 2nd most cap space in the NFL this year. So a lot of players, if they hit the free agency, trades, things like that, they probably could possibly be linked to the Atlanta Falcons. So definitely get ready for the roller coaster ride with that. But going back to the combine, one of the big things was the Atlanta Falcons potentially looking for a quarterback. And I think by this time now, we have to consider that it could definitely be a possibility. They have not, named Desmond Ridder as their number one quarterback. So it's a possibility that they're definitely looking for at least some competition to bring in to go against Desmond Ridder. I have said that I don't believe they would go get a rookie quarterback. I think it would be a veteran more than anything to bring in with Desmond Ridder. But like I said, you never know. The Atlanta Falcons have done their due diligence during the combine when they interviewed C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, the star of the combine. So all these guys, they actually interviewed those guys, but they interviewed so many other guys. They 3 running backs: Robinson, Gibbs, Bigsby, Roschon Johnson. They interviewed. They did their due diligence. Zay Flowers, Sam Laporta, Peter Skoronski, Broderick Jones, Tyreek Wilson, Lucas Van Ness, Miles Murphy, Brian Young, Owen Pape, Miles Brooks, Brian Branch, Jamie Robinson. They interviewed all these guys. So you just have to know they're doing their due diligence, which any front office needs to do, because you never know. Like I said, they always go best player available, right? We don't know who's going to be at number 8. So depending on what they do in free agency, they could definitely consider any of these guys I just mentioned. Quarterback would really be interesting to see what they decide to do that, because then they will have a quarterback that definitely they drafted in the first round. Probably they feeling going to be their future. And then they got a guy in Desmond Ridder who they said so many glowing things about that can compete with that guy. So, like I said, definitely interesting concept to fathom that Atlanta Falcons would even consider going to get a quarterback. But at this point in time, you just have to, like I said, just go with the rumors, follow the trail and see where it leads. Some things don't make sense, but at the same time, a lot of things Atlanta Falcons have done over the couple of years, we have to just go with it, because their track record so far, in my opinion, has been pretty good with some of the decisions they make. Last year, around this time, they decide to go after Deshaun Watson, right? So it's just the nature of the beast to think that the Atlanta Falcons could go against something that we all thinking out the cuff, and decide that the Atlanta Falcons definitely will decide to go a different direction what we're all thinking. Like I said, tomorrow is going to be franchise tag day deadline, and the rumor out on Lamar Jackson that the Baltimore Ravens are considering putting a non-exclusive tag on him. If that happens, I would definitely think that the Atlanta Falcons would consider trying to pursue Lamar Jackson. A reason for that, because they would only have to give up 2 first-round picks, and in a trade, you would think that it would the draft capital would be way more than that. So by actually going out and actually negotiating the contract with him, you would have to give up less. Yes, 2 first-round picks still would hurt the Atlanta Falcons, but not as much as what they probably would have to give up, via trade if they had to trade for Lamar Jackson. So I definitely, like I said, last year they went after Deshaun Watson. I could not see a scenario where they would not try to pursue Lamar Jackson if the Baltimore Ravens decide to put a non-exclusive tag on him. So we have to look out for that. It's just one of those things that you have to consider moving forward. Like I said, tomorrow we'll kind of, will determine what direction the Baltimore Ravens decide to go in, and then other teams around the league, because it won't just be the Atlanta Falcons trying to pursue Lamar Jackson. It would also be a lot of other teams. The New York Jets come to mind. Definitely probably would try to pursue Lamar Jackson. Other teams that might consider it, The Carolina Panthers could definitely consider pursuing Lamar Jackson. We're going to take the New Orleans Saints off the board because they just signed Derek Carter Day to a 4-year deal. Probably going to take the Seattle Seahawks off the board because they just signed Geno Smith to a 3-year deal. So those teams are out, but it's going to be some teams if the Baltimore Ravens decide to put a non-exclusive tag on Lamar Jackson. Definitely be on the lookout for a lot of teams going out to try to pursue Lamar Jackson and negotiate a contract with him. Now, the Baltimore Ravens can match that contract if they decide to do so, and then all bets are off. Lamar signed a contract with them, and he's back at Baltimore Ravens. If they don't match it, like I said, that team will have to give up 2 first-round picks. For Atlanta Falcons, that'll be the number 8th overall pick this year, and probably whatever pick they have next year. And if you was to go get Lamar Jackson, definitely you could see a scenario where that next year pick hopefully will be a late round pick, because hopefully bringing in a guy like Lamar Jackson will actually increase our win totals a lot. Some people might want to think about the salary cap. What would his contract do to our salary cap? Well, I would just go look and see what the New Orleans Saints just did. They was able to sign Derek Carr to a 4-year deal when they're still $18 million over the cap. Just somehow, some way, you could figure it out if you want to go get your guy, right? So obviously, the Atlanta Falcons have a lot more holes on their roster than the New Orleans Saints do. So it still would be kind of interesting to see how they would try to, structure Lamar Jackson contract if they would decide to go down this route and still try to bring in free agents to help this team. We talked about the defensive front, trying to create a pass rush. We talked about the secondary as well. Talked about a second receiver for Lamar Jackson to go along with Kyle Pitts and Drake London. And, I would say this probably would be one of the most explosive offense Lamar Jackson would have been in his career to date. So I don't want to get ahead of myself, because I had always said I felt like the Baltimore Ravens was not going to make a crazy decision and let him out the door. But it seemed like it's getting up to a point now where the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson just cannot come to an agreement. Seems like they still far apart on negotiations, and at this point, I think that it could be heading for a divorce. We don't know, but we just have to wait to see. However, tomorrow by 4:00 Eastern Standard Time, we'll definitely know what direction the Baltimore Ravens decide to go in, and then we can kind of get an idea what kind of direction the Atlanta Falcons will pursue. So let's see what happens with that. Last thing I want to talk about, some guys that's actually being released from teams. Like I said, since the Atlanta Falcons definitely have funds out there to actually go get free agents, a lot of these guys could be considered, on the Falcons' radar if they were willing to pay, depending on what kind of money these guys want, right? But Frank Clark from the Kansas City Chiefs is potentially being released. Guy who has the most sacks in playoff history, definitely gonna be released. He's 29 years old, still not that old. So bringing a guy like Frank Clark in with that veteran presence would definitely probably something to consider. Kendrick from the Minnesota Vikings, potentially going to be released as well. Linebacker with the Atlanta Falcons, consider bringing him in. There's some talk about Derrick Henry being released. You see the trend, the ties to Arthur Smith, Derrick Henry. Taylor Lewan is another guy that was released by the Tennessee Titans. Even though I watch him on NFL Network, and he said he would not want to play right tackle, which means he would want to play left tackle, which we already have a left tackle, Jake Matthews. So that would be interesting to see how that would work out if the Atlanta Falcons would decide to bring in a guy like Taylor Warren. In my opinion, Taylor Warren definitely need to get healthy. He has missed some games in these last 3 years. So it's one of the things to think about. I don't think he only played 2 games this past season. So, but either way, guys, there are a lot of guys that's definitely going to be being released from their teams to try to fit up under the cap. And we have to see what the Atlanta Falcons decide to do. One of the biggest things we definitely know that they will have to do, depending on, like I said, what they decide to do with their quarterback position, they're gonna have to bring in a veteran. If they don't try to get a rookie in the draft, or they don't try to pursue Lamar Jackson or anything like that, they will definitely have to bring in a veteran quarterback. There's some guys out there on the market. If you go back and look at my videos, there's some guys I talked about. But there's some more guys. Jameis Winston actually going to be released. Not saying we want to sign Jameis Winston. Like I said, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be out there. If you want to take some hit on some younger guys like Taylor Heinicke, Gardner Minshew, some of those guys to come in and compete with Desmond Ridder if the Atlanta Falcons decide to stick with him. These are some of the things we have to definitely consider. We're about 1 week away from the new league year, so let's get ready to see what these guys are going to do. But we are waiting on tomorrow to actually determine what direction the Baltimore Ravens are actually going to go and with Lamar Jackson, because I really believe that if they put a non-exclusive tag, the Atlanta Falcons is definitely is going to consider doing negotiations with him. I mean, like I said, guys, if you don't have a franchise quarterback, you're not going that far in this league, and that's just the nature of the NFL. You have to have a quarterback in this league. That's just that simple. I have said so many times, went on record, that I like Desmond Ridder, and I definitely believe that he has potential to be a good quarterback in this league. But Lamar Jackson is already proven. We know what he can do. You can look at the numbers and things like that, but if you want to start imagining Lamar Jackson with his skill set, running an Arthur Smith offense, you wouldn't only just start to be just kind of like, wow, what kind of potential it could definitely be. One thing we can say about Lamar Jackson, when he has been on the field, they've been the second highest score offense in the league behind the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a fact. So he is dynamic. Style, one thing, being able to throw, we really don't know, because he really haven't had the consistent weapons out there to actually, deliver the ball. But I can say that he definitely, if he comes to Atlanta Falcons, he will have those weapons. So stay tuned to tomorrow. Definitely come back on tomorrow to talk about the decision, what the Baltimore Ravens decide either way. But I'm definitely going to hear what you guys think about this situation with the Atlanta Falcons and with the Lamar Jackson situation. Also, let's celebrate about our extra draft pick that we got, going in this year, for the Calvin Ridley reinstatement, and our potentially second round draft pick next year from that same trade. So, guys, that's all I have. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.